Well, hello everyone, this is another really nice trip. This is heading down to Dover. We start just outside Sandwich, but I would actually recommend you probably started at Dover. But don't forget, please like, subscribe and comment for us so you can see where we are. We're right down in the coast of Kent, right down in the far corner, beyond Canterbury near Sandwich. You can see where London is there, and it's quite a nice route of about 30 miles that we've got here. So here is the route in a bit more detail, and we're going to start up at Sandwich, but this is the best place to start, which is the car park, the National Trust car park overlooking Dover. So if we head back up to the top, we're going to work our way round through Sandwich, and then we're going to have to, after you've been past Deal, we have to rise up through St Margaret's at Cliff, which is, there's quite a steep hill here, and then from there there's a long drag up towards Dover. And then we get to this National Trust car park overlooking the harbour. It's a great place to stop. They've got a visitor centre where you can pick up a cup of coffee, and then from there there's lovely views. We popped into Dover, just the edge of Dover Castle and the barracks, and then headed our way diagonally across past the airfield that you can see, and then headed way back. And this last little bit we just avoided those fields that we hit in yesterday's ride, and so 30 miles, a good amount of climbing, and most of it just starts around Dover, which you can see here. So we follow this trip and we're on the low part. This is all the way along the seafront. There's Sandwich and Deal, and then work our way round. So this is Walmer Castle, and then from there we head our way along. So this is St Margaret's, then we head inland towards Dover. There we stopped at the top, had a good look around. It's a wonderful place. There's the great coffee shop there as well, and then head your way down across the fields, around through some little villages, and head towards Eastry, and then back up, and avoiding that little dogleg that we got caught on because of a closed gate. We chose a different route which has also got a closed gate on it, so it wasn't necessarily better. So here we go, starting on the 257, and we did the pavements simply because all the lorries that were thrashing down the road, it was quite brutal actually most of the time. So we're crossing over here, but the moment you start heading towards Sandwich, it's pretty easy. Now here, this is where we get to the railway line, and sometimes it's open, sometimes it's closed. So we waited for that, and into Sandwich. Sandwich is a great place to start as well, but there's not so much parking. It's got boats, it's got the quayside, it's got a wonderful little bridge that goes over the river just here, and we're going to take a slightly different route from yesterday, go through the park on the cycle track, and then it takes us alongside the river really. So now we're following our way down towards the coast. Now this is heading towards Sandwich Golf Club, and that is a private road, so just be a little bit careful. So as we head up here, we get to the turnstile, the gate, and this is now all private. Sorry about the raindrops, although it was beautiful weather, it was surprising as to how much it actually threw with rain. But then you wouldn't expect anything else from us, because that's what we always give you. So now we're heading across the edge of Sandwich Golf Course, and this is actually quite long. You do quite a lot here, but the road quality is really nice. Occasional potholes, and occasionally cars coming the other way, which you just have to make room for, because it's really only single track. It can be very blowy here, and it was quite cool, but really it's a very pretty route, and you've got lots to see. There's farming going on. This last farm on the right looks a bit run down in places, but it's just the countryside here is quite peaceful and tranquil. It's not as if there's a lot of traffic. We come out the far end past the clubhouse. There's the clubhouse. Very smart. I don't think they'd let me in. And here we go, a little climb, and now we're up right at the seafront again, as we were yesterday, and we follow along the seafront at Deal, work our way through. So similar route to our previous one, but what we're going to do is we're going to stay at the seafront. So head through the town, watch out for the traffic, but then you can soon get on the cycle path, and here we are on the cycle path that runs parallel with the seafront and the road. and you can see it's subdivided. There's castles all the way along. We just enjoyed coming down this bit. The sun was shining and the rain had abated for a short while. So following along the seafront here, heading towards the castle, you've got this shingle dune really on our left. Very nice, but keeping the passengers, the pedestrians and the cyclists apart. Difficult sometimes to decide which is the right path. I'm assuming that the seats are on the pedestrian part. So here we are, we went to Walmer Castle and had a little look around. It's quite a nice thing, it's English heritage. It was quite expensive and we were only planning to stay for a few minutes really to have a little look around. Part of the defences that were built, and your kids would love it with a cannon. But the planting's really nice, and it was a little early. Autumn colour in 2022 was a little bit late, so we didn't really get much in the way of autumn colour. The trees were still quite green. But we're leaving there, and we just take this small patch of road really. We're planning to get back onto that coast path, so we cut back on here, and now we're back onto it. Sadly, we stopped into the wrong bit, so we got onto the pedestrian bit, but now we're back onto the cycle path. And this follows along even further. There's quite a lot of that shingle gets on here, and then we're going to start heading off right when we get to the end. That's a little village called Kingsdown, so we head off, and now we're joining the Cliff Road, or the Undercliff Road as it becomes. So we follow this up, get a bit of a rise on it again, and here we are just in a little car park here. I wouldn't recommend trying to stop. It is a passing space, not a car parking. But we're now heading up towards Dover, and this is a long climb. It goes on and on and on, but it's really nice. It's peaceful. There's no cars, no vehicles, just pedestrians and cycles, and it's a formal cycle path. So we climb up through the wooded area, and they're not abandoned farms, but they certainly feel like some of the houses along the line are just ignored. How they ever get to the fields, I don't know. So we climb up. This is more like a footpath, but it's still tarmacked, so you've still got a reasonable surface. I don't know what it would be like on a road bike. We've got 38mm tyres, so we're probably a little bit fatter than you'd have on your road bike, but I think this whole route could be done using road tyres if you really wanted, particularly these days when people are riding on 28s. So we continue to rise up, and we're heading towards the top of the cliff now, but we've got this little dog leg to do, which is a bit of a nuisance really in some ways, because it's quite easy to get lost. There's streets all over the place. So we've got a bit of a left and then a right, and head our way out, and then here's our right, and now we're on the coast road at the top, and this will eventually give you views of the countryside and the sea. It's a long road. It does actually have quite a few fast cars on it, and there's no real way to avoid it because it's only single track, and there's quite a few vans and larger vehicles on here. We've done this several times, and I know the video dances around, but you can get to see the quality of the road surface. It's a little bit grumbly, and you just got to watch out because the inner edge in places is falling apart. But we follow this route for quite a long time, until we eventually can turn off down towards the cliff. So here we go, carrying on past, and Foxdown Hill is on our left. So we're working our way, continuing actually still to climb, and it looks quite military land. There's lots of aerials and other places like that, and then we're just going to go left in a second to Foxdown through the barrier, and then almost immediately we're going to turn right through this gate, which of course we were struggling with a tandem. So it's Foxdown Hill National Trust, but we just about managed to get through, and then we find another one These are meant to be cycle friendly, but they're certainly not friendly for a tandem. So we stopped at the top, had a good look around. There's a visitor centre slightly lower down, but we wanted the views. We brought our own tea and flapjack, as you may well know if you've seen any of our previous rides. So there we are, flask on the table, stopping at the top, and just watching the ferries. I love watching the ferries go in and out, trying to guess where they're going. Some to Belgium, some to France. And then we're going to head off really through the rest of the park, and then from there one last quick look down at the sea and at Dover, and then we're heading back. Now this route is actually a bit of a nuisance. It'd be better to stick to the road, because there was no way we were going to get our bike easily through that little turning. It was a nightmare, and that's my criticism of this area. It is bike friendly, but only if you've got solo bikes. But we went to the visitor centre really to use the toilets as much as anything else, and then you head down. We stopped at the top of the cliff here, had a little look over towards the town, and then down. Now this hill is very, very steep. It leads to the castle, it leads around the castle, and it's really steep. It's got a lot of cars on it, and although it's got double yellow lines, there's often cars parked on the side where people are taking photos. So just be careful as you descend, because it's pretty easy to hit 40 miles an hour. So we go past the castle, and now we go past the car park to the barracks, and we work our way around. Now they're doing a lot of building here, so watch out. So as we head out past the barracks, this is really country route now, almost all the way home. So although this looks like a busy road, it's not very busy at all, and there's a lot of building work going on, but it soon becomes more and more rural, and it looks like there's sort of training in a big school here on the right. So we're going to follow this road. This is Skylark Hill and Walmer. It's actually NCR 10. We turn left there and work our way up the hill again, still climbing through the countryside, and another long bit of road that's rolling. Great views over the top of all the countryside around, and barely another car, another vehicle around. So we're passing through the farms, continuing to rise up over the chalk downs. Then we're going to turn left, cross over the main road, and now follow along parallel and just gradually rise up again through more farmland. Just be a little bit careful down here, because although you can see for miles and we're cutting down these little tiny tracks, occasionally there's all sorts of stuff in the road and the road surface just falls apart. But when we get to the top of this little bit road here, we're going to turn right and then almost immediately turn left again towards this little village called Ashley. So there's a big campsite there on our left. We follow down now, a little bit of a descent, and then we're going to go left at the junction that's just coming up. So watch out for that. So just left here. Now this road is a little bit fuller of other vehicles, and maybe that was part of the time of day that we were out, but you can see now we're gradually heading our way back down. If you look at the topographic chart. So now working through some quiet little villages, and this is Eyethorn, and we're going to turn left at the village store. So we head our way up and just follow your way around. See that village store there? That we go left there, and then we're going to go right now towards Sandwich. That's what the signpost says. You can see it's getting quite dark here a bit. That's because it's overgrown. And now we're cutting up around, and we cut through just the edge of this, what looks like an industrial estate, but it gets us away from the main road and we can follow our way round. So we cut this back road and then it just vanishes, and we've got the old original road, which I think is just for locals, certainly not suitable, as you can see, for heavy goods vehicles. So we head through the woodland that was almost completely pitch black, sun's getting low. We're going to turn right at this T-junction that's coming up, and then almost immediately left again there. So there we are, we go left. And now we're following, really we're heading towards Eastry, if you can find signs for it. So we're going to go left at the next T-junction. There we go, and there's a little bit of jiggling around through the village, but we rise up again. Quite a pretty village. Followed left, now going through the back edge of the village. Turn right, and now we're heading out, really almost home. Just past a place that has a 3-wheel drive, trotters, Reliant Robin on the top of a container. Not quite sure why, but now we're heading back. So rising up through small villages, straight across at that junction, and now we're almost home. Now, last time we went across the field and it was very muddy, very slippery, so we're just staying really slightly west of that, and now we're cutting round the edge of the field. So where you can see those hedges over there, there are some roads. Now we were able to get round these gates, but this one was completely locked, so we did have to actually drag our bike through the edge, and then we were back onto the road. So although we avoided yesterday's block road, we didn't really, because we just found another one. Then we're back onto the 256, or is it 257, and we're home. So thank you for following us. Do like, please subscribe, do have a look at the route that's available on Komoot, and hopefully you've seen what the conditions are like. It's a great trip. You can download a GPX file, you'll see it over there on the right, and we're looking forward to seeing you on our next road ride, where we're going to do a couple of coastal rides, one up to Broadstairs from Sandwich, and then the next one from Broadstairs all the way to Reculver and beyond. So look forward to seeing you on there, and until then, bye for now.